Anyway, speaking of F+ tier films...
Oh yeah, we've got F- the film, and by that I mean Talk to Me 2022. That was a terrible intro. This is Nico's pick. Please tell us about it.
So yeah, Talk to Me is about a group of teens who discover that they can get possessed and deem that this is a pretty good idea, so long as no one is possessed for more than 90 seconds. But uh-oh! Our MC does end up going over that time and is now being haunted by her dead mom, but it's chill because she dies too.
Fun fact, the directors of this film were offered a lot of money to make an American remake of it, and they said, no, that sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah, based of them, honestly, based.
Fucking based.
Yeah.
What does that even
Thank God.
American?
What do you mean?
Fun fact.
They remake it, but in America.
No, I know, but like that's stupid.
Yeah, I think it's the same situation as like what happened with Speak No Evil, where it's like, what are you talking about? This is already in English. Why does there need to be an American version? This movie just came out.
That and Funny Games.
Anyway, Funny Games makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Or wait, Funny Games was in German, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Anywho.
All right, so Tanner, you're probably the biggest hater on this film. Where are you putting it?
I am sitting at a B-.
Notorious A24 film hater.
Yeah, I'm at a B+. Dylan, how about yourself?
I gave it a flat A.
And I'm like a flat B, I would say.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, Nico.
Yeah.
You took issue with me saying that I felt that this was an extremely contrived plot.
Yeah.
I suppose let me clarify what I think the term contrived means, and maybe I'm just stupid and using it wrong.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure contrived means that, like, the plot is kind of forced to happen beyond what would be reasonably expected of, like, human beings, you know? And the idea that a bunch of, you know, teenagers are, I guess, getting addicted to being possessed, and they're throwing possession parties, and just the whole thing they're fucking doing in this movie, I find so implausible as to that's why I say it's an extremely contrived plot.
No, you're spot on with your definition of what contrived means. I just think that teenagers would 100% do this shit if they did have the ability to do so.
Yeah, I don't see that being the case, so that's a fair point of disagreement between us then.
I'm kind of in between you guys. I certainly lean a little more towards Tanner. I do remember initially at the beginning of this movie thinking, okay, demon possession, sure, that might be something you want to like look to disprove. The fact that they were doing it back to back, knowing the consequences, like, yeah, they're aware of the whole stipulation of like, if you're possessed for more than 90 seconds, you get fucked up and you'll probably die. I maybe I'm putting too much personal on this, but like, I wouldn't take that risk. I'd probably be around, I guess, but and I can certainly be convinced about my ranking on this movie. I'm not sold on A. There's something about psychological thrillers that I really like, because I just legitimately got to the point in the movie where we don't know what to believe, because when we see perspectives from different camera angles, we don't know if we're seeing it from the main character's perspective or the environment's perspective. And then it even got to the point where it's like, is her mom telling the truth? It becomes like a game of who's telling the truth. And, you know, maybe, you know, for people who are more intelligent than me or whatever you want to call it, that doesn't work as well on them. But I legitimately just got to the point in the movie where I needed more context and more story to figure out what actually is happening. And I will say, unfortunately, it did get to like the last half hour, 15 minutes in the movie when I started to realize who actually was, you know, doing the bad thing here. Well, I guess to be completely fair, I knew when the bad thing started happening, when she killed her dad. I don't know when that was, like, how far from the ending that was. But yeah, no, this movie did a really good job at psyching me out and making me, like, question a lot of things. But in retrospect, looking back on the movie, it is just a cursed hand that has evil spirits that talk through it, and we haven't been shown otherwise. So why at any point would I have believed that her mom is doing anything but trying to get her to do bad things?
Yeah, I mean, this film definitely isn't like a foreign concept. There are plenty of horror stories out there. They're just like about teens fucking around with supernatural forces beyond their understanding. But I do think this film executes it pretty well. We have good performances from our cast here. The pacing is pretty quick, but it does know when to slow things down, let that tension build. The story's very tight. I really felt for our MC throughout it, although I will say I do wish we saw more interactions with their dad, because so much of their relationship is just kind of told to us rather than shown, and so I just, that felt like a missed opportunity for me. The film is very professionally shot, though. I think, this is around the start of when YouTubers were really breaking into film and like actually producing something worthwhile instead of just like, I don't know, the fucking Smosh movie or something. It was just some good shit. The use of social media was very solid here. Like, I think, that's in large part due to just like, YouTubers being the ones who made this. Whereas like typically that sort of social media aspect feels very forced in a lot of these films, probably just because it's due to people who don't fucking know anything about it, which caused it to be very eye-rolly. But here it felt, almost perfect. There was that one part at the very beginning of the film where, the guy fucking stabs his brother or whatever, and like everyone's recording it. I felt like that seemed like too much for me. I don't think that everyone would have just been crowding around fucking recording him there. But everywhere else, it felt like they used just the right amount. As far as the scare go, what's up, Tanner? What?
I was just gonna say one little asterisk I kind of want to add to that point is, I agree they handle social media pretty well. I do feel like there's you can pretty consistently tell that this is millennials writing Zoomers, and so I feel like our characters often feel a bit off from how I would, expect them to be acting.
That might just be due to them being Australian.
That's fair. Australia is 10 years behind us, so their Zoomers are, culturally millennial.
That's real, though. That is true. That's how they work.
That's basically me.
Yeah, everyone in this movie is Dylan.
Yeah.
The scares in this film, the scene where the brother is just like fucking bashing his head in and trying to like tear out his eye. That shit was fucking gruesome. It kind of reminded me of like Weapons, when the principal like kills his husband by just repeatedly smashing his skull in. That just did not make me feel comfy at all. And the scene where like the fucking ghost is like sucking on the dude's toes, like right before that, when they're like in the corner and like we can't totally tell that there's actually something there, but then it like fucking moves. It's, oh my god, that creeped me out.
It was some good shots, man. Fucking Christ.
I would agree with Tanner a little bit. I do think some of it is a bit contrived. It is hard to believe exactly what like these people are doing. Like when the brother really starts first freaking out, these people have been doing this shit for a long time. But like nobody has like an immediate call to action to like help. Really, it just takes so long. And so random moments like that, I just think are kind of stupid. With the big like twist at the end too, kind of like leading into what Dylan was saying, it just felt a bit too predictable for me, I would say. And I think they set up something interesting with like the mind games that the ghost of her mom was playing on our main character. I just don't really feel like they did anything like particularly entertaining with it, to be honest. It just seems obvious that she was being manipulated, and then when it turned out she was being manipulated in the end, it didn't shock me. Nothing really happened. Mm-hmm. I do think some of the scares, like you said, were pretty effective for the most part. I think the one that got me was the fucking, none of them really, I wouldn't say got me, but like the fucking kid, like the visual of what the kid that was, the fucking his soul stolen by the demon in his body, like being, just surrounded by fucking people and being like eaten or whatever the fuck was happening. That was pretty good. Made me feel for the kid's situation a bit. But I think the movie was all right.
About that scene, apparently they shot for like, it was meant to be like a 4-minute scene, like in hell, like seeing what the fuck they're doing to him. Then they're like, damn, we can chop this down. we maybe don't need to go upon it this much.
Yeah, that's a little overkill. I do agree with Nico.
I like how after they show us him being like raped in hell, they also do the plot point of like, well, sometimes if you just keep them alive, they'll get better.
It sounded like that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, like the one guy that initially had his brother stab him and that killed himself, he had told them that like after a while of being possessed, it eventually just kind of goes away. And that seemed to be what was happening, given, I think it was
Well, no,
sister.
I'm just saying, it's funny that, like,
Oh, I know.
he
like,
just
in
gets
contrast
better
to that
over
situation.
time, but his soul was, getting tortured or whatever.
I could easily believe that wasn't actually happening to him, and that they were just showing her this
at that
to
point.
like freak
That's
her out
true.
more.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's where the whole mind game thing comes into play, because, like, what at that point is true? But like I said, given Jackson's analysis, it works on some people, and it doesn't work on some people.
The problem there then kind of becomes, like, we don't really understand our ghosts, Like, why are they still around? What do they want? What do they do? Why are they doing it? They're kind of just like, listen, man, they're evil or something, or they want to scare you because, they're ghosts.
I think that the big thing that was happening here was that, for the most part, it seems like most of these ghosts aren't totally malicious. But what happened was that, like, during that first possession, she was talking about how, like, she saw there was, like, a man also in the room with them, and that he wanted the kids specifically. And so what I'm interpreting here is that one was really fucking malicious, and he was the main perpetrator here. Like, I do not think that was her mom at all, and that a lot of this was being orchestrated by that specific, incredibly evil ghost.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a lot of them are just being manipulated. I mean, I do will say, too, at the very end of the movie, like, looping back on itself with our character, like, becoming one of the ghosts that's, like, stuck in the hand trap, or whatever you could say it is, was pretty cool. I enjoyed that ending.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it does speak to it. They probably don't know exactly what they're doing when this is happening, because I'm sure they're very scared and afraid of what's happening to them, or what happened to them. Like, I'm sure that girl is probably just going to be stuck in a state of endless confusion and horror for the rest of her probably eternal life or some shit. It's a pretty dire situation.
Yeah.
Jackson, you were also going to say something previously, like, to my credit or something like that. I don't know what it was. You got cut off.
It's impossible to say.
Bummer.
I will say, the whole plot of, like, oh, your mom killed herself, but, like, that doesn't seem like something... It almost feels bad, in a way. I feel like that didn't resolve itself. Maybe it's because I got too, mind-gamed by the movie. Because it's like, she overdosed on sleeping pills or something, but then she was, like, trying to claw her way out of the bedroom or something, so there was very physical things, and, like, I was trying to be meta about it, but, like, I couldn't break down exactly what that was. There was just so much conflicting evidence with that part of the plot. I think that actually probably helped in regards to what actually is making that portion muddied.
I think that's exactly what it was, yeah, because it's like, because of that little wrinkle there, she more is ready to believe the ghost when they're telling her that, like, no, that's not true, I didn't actually kill myself. Which there are a lot of stories I've heard from people who, like, attempted suicide, but then, like, immediately after they're like, oh, fuck, no, I don't want to do this, shit, fuck. And so I could totally believe that after her mom tried to overdose and she was like, oh, god damn, I don't want to go through with this.
Yeah, that was one of the theories. One of the other theories I had that maybe, I guess, to fit the movie seem a little more, is, like, somehow her mom got possessed by a spirit and, like, tried to kill herself to have the permanent possession or whatever, and then she snapped out of the possession and, like, tried to escape, but, like, she couldn't. So, like, either way, those are pretty similar theories, but yeah, that plot mind game really helped strengthen, I think, the ending, like, especially when our character descends into madness, or whatever you want to call it.
Some of my more, like, overarching thoughts. I agree, it's very slickly produced, very well put together and whatnot. My problems really just come down to, like, the writing here and there. Like I mentioned, how the characters are written. And I do find the plot kind of contrived. And I find a lot of the stuff that's happening, especially the scares, I was never really scared in this movie. A lot of it just was kind of stupid to me, to be honest.
Tough guy Tanner can't be scared as usual.
I will say, something that kind of bothered me, I did like the ending. I agree with Jackson. I think the ending was pretty nice. What kind of confuses me is the last time we saw the hand, they were in the hospital room, and our MC kicks it away with the sister and her boyfriend in the room. I would have assumed, because, like, they were all on the same page, they, like, all wanted to destroy the hand. I would have assumed that, considering we never saw the hand again unless some random passerby found the hand and took it, that the sister or the boyfriend would have taken care of the hand like they said they would have, and the fact that it ends up in the hands of some random dudes in some country I don't know, felt bad a little bit, just because it's like, I'm not opposed to the cycle continues kind of stories, but it has to make sense, and I don't want it to feel convenient, and it did feel kind of convenient. We have no clue why the hand ended up there.
Dude, what if that was the other hand?
That's what I was about to say. Do we remember, like, what hand she grabbed it with? It could very well been the other one.
I think she reached out her right hand, so I guess that actually probably makes sense. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, okay, if that's the case, fucking thumbs up to this movie. Good job.
It's impossible to say.
But, I mean, we could go look it up right now, but I'm not going to. But yeah, if it's not the cycle continues, convenient, the hand ended up in some random country, fine. But
I mean, it's still like a cycle continues ending either way.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if it's the hand that we were dealing with in the story, I don't like that as much. If it is the other hand, I think that's very well done.
Fair enough.
Well, fellas, do you have anything else to say about Talk to Me?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh, I just remember one last thing I actually want to say. One more, minor complaint for me. I do wish that the boyfriend... So, he was the only character who was stated to be explicitly religious. So, I would have liked some kind of pushback from him on all this ghost possession stuff. Where at some point he mentioned, man, this really doesn't seem like a good idea, guys. Or something.
Yeah, this seems pretty explicitly evil.
Yeah, it's like, if none of the characters were religious, then I think that would help the idea that, none of them have, too much of an issue with this possession stuff, especially since none of them have seen anything bad happen with it yet. It's all just been, kind of fun stuff, but it's weird he doesn't mention anything.
Mm-hmm.
Two things about that now that you bring that up, actually. One, I was expecting a little more. Yes, I expected more pushback. I also expected some kind of adverse reaction, he gets possessed and there's some weird bullshit that happens, they're like, oh, this one is...
He grows his foreskin back.
Yeah. Yeah. What confused me more is he was very upset visually in that scene, and he fucking leaves, and then he comes back. I don't think he does hand possession again. Why the fuck did he come back?
Now, it was part of a big montage. We don't know how much time really passed there. I guess the girlfriend talked to him about it, and she was like, no, it's chill. Don't worry about it. Let's go have fun.
I don't know. Him coming back at all seemed very strange to me, but...
I can believe it. All right, guys. I think that's all my thoughts now. I think that's everything. I'm sticking with my B+.
I'm sticking at a B.
I'll acknowledge the contrived story. I don't think it's that bad, but I'll drop it to an A-.
I'll stick at my B-.
And it lands at a B+. Woo!
Another one for the pile. Actually, well, can we even say that anymore? Is it
It's not the pile anymore, dude. It's not the fucking pile anymore.